My name is Chris Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos Facebook Live. Oh, I've had a little bit of the lurgy the last week or two, but I'm feeling pretty good. Bit snotty. But anyway, aren't we all? Anyway, before I even start, I'm going to do a show here called The One Percenters, all the little small things. And I'm going to dedicate it to two musicians who have passed very recently, Rodriguez and Robbie Robinson of the band. So, mwah. And yes, I don't want to turn this into Tribute City, and but God bless them. Anyway, there you go. So what happens is that the One Percenters, now, if you have a listen to what I've got here, oh, what have I got here? I've got called Hovering Machine. And one of the things about the one percenters, when I start talking about things like this, is when we're dealing with, say, beats, getting a beat, and then keeping the beat even. Now, this, what have I got here? I've got it set, it's a default setting at 120 beats a minute. So when I'm sort of going... See what I've got there? What I've got there is I'm working to the, yeah, just the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. Now I'm going to take them off, I'm going to put them back in. But what I'd like to do about the one percenters tonight is take a basic beat. Okay, terrific, basic. Let's build it up, right? So what starts to happen, that's very straightforward. That's what would happen if you programmed it into Sibelius or MuseScore, anything like that. You just get that basic oop, duh, duh. But how do we make it, you know, pop out? Well, hello, Rimshot. Rimshot City. There you go. That's an oldie but goodie. But what happens is that if you were to say... there it is there, see it? Now, that's starting to get, it's been called to me, said, you're doing that shuffly thing. It's not a shuffle, it's 16th notes, you see. And then what starts to happen is that when you start to build up like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. See the little tiny ghost notes in there? Ghost notes, mate. There you go. One of the things about ghost notes is that when you're actually playing them, they only really happen in funky business and rock. Because if you're playing, say, a snare drum piece, you can't call them ghost notes, they're just very light snare drum rolls. And then what happens is you can start to deal with things like a volume control, which I always sort of talk to my students about, like here. Now, where my fingers are is about 5, and you've got 1 to 10. So what happens is you can pop an accent and do all sorts of different things with that. Now, what I'd like to do now is build up a beat. Okay, so here's a basic beat for you, right? So you get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, put in that rim shot a little bit. few ghost notes. Single stroke roll. Sixteenth note on the bass drum, maybe. Bring in the hi-hat. Do a couple of different things here. Now I'll show you a couple of different things with the hi-hat now to build up your beat. So this so far we've got is this. Basics. There. Okay. Double. Hi-hat. In with the triggers. I think you're starting to get the idea there, and that's what goes on, you see. I'll start basic again. That brings in the timing because you've got the echo. Threshold. Rimshot brings in a higher. There you are. When you're doing things like fill-ins and stuff like that, when you're doing your typical da 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 like that, I always tend to try and bring it up da 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 bang, like that sort of stuff. Bring it like a crescendo. So you're always up and down and in between and creating colour with everything that you're doing, I hope. Now I'm going to talk about the hi-hat a little bit and take the triggers out again. They'll be on and off, in and out, all sorts of things. And what I've got here, the hi-hat. Now, what happens is, I mentioned thresholds before. Now, what I've got here is the good old John Bonham. This is where I got it from, the old John Bonham hi-hats kind of stuff. And I often wonder where it came from. I often say this. Sometimes new sounds come from surviving adversity. Imagine, you know, like Johnny Bonham had his gigantic, big ass, 24-inch Peart 2002, especially made for him pretty much, cymbal. It's just a wash. You get into it, just, you know, it's a wash after all. There you go, the wash, there's the wash, there's the ping. And as the cymbal gets bigger and you're hitting the hell out of it there, the wash starts to take over and it becomes that. So there's Jim up the back. Sorry, there's Bonham's up the back and Jimmy's up the front going, "Where's one, Bonzo?" There it is, Jim. There you go, it's there. Now, when we're talking about thresholds, there's a couple of things with the hi-hat because most, I've often had students come in from, say, certain lessons, and the first thing they do is undo. I said, "What are you doing? What's going on?" "Oh, I'm locking, you know, I'm just sort of making it." So it's just always like that. No open hi-hats, no nothing, and I'm going, "What? You do have a left foot," you know, that kind of thing. So what happens is there's a couple of little thresholds. Now, with a cymbal, any cymbal will give you the bell. You've got your right area, and then you have the shoulder. There you go. There's three levels right there. When you have a closed hi-hat, you've got that part, you've got the shoulder, and then lots of different things in between. Now, when I'm starting to do that, I'm immediately thinking Stuart Copeland, and not just with the Police, but the famous Peter Gabriel track, Red Rain, off the So album in 1984, where you just had Stuart Copeland as hi-hat. And there it is, the end of that. But what starts to happen is that thresholds, because if I'm just going to use my left foot for a second, I can just have the normal chick, like jazz, bit harder, jingle jangle, tambourines come in, and that goes back to Bonham with, Jim. Where's one? You got the big wash, and then all of a sudden Bonham's going. In the days of my youth. He was 19 when he did that. And Good Times, Bad Times. Track 1, side 1, Led Zeppelin 1. Everything 1, the first thing. Everyone's going, what the hell? 1968. Bang, 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 bang. Like that. So when you're putting it all together, and you've got, say, and the jingle jangle, threshold number 2. There you go. And that's what starts to happen there. Then with the hi-hat you can do things like little open ones, of course. We all know about that, and I'm not really teaching that. But a little trick of the trade with the little 1%ers is when you're wanting, if you've got that going, that, again, I'm very Bonham-esque at the moment, because that's the thing with, the lick of the century. If you couldn't do this in the 70s, you were nothing. It's basically a single stroke roll with your feet with the left foot start. And when you're doing that, there it is. Now when you've got that going, and then you actually play the hi-hat on top, look what happens if I put in a little double tap. Little baby. All of a sudden, your open hi-hats can become just like semi-breves, dotted minims, crotchets, and now quavers and even semi-quavers, depending on how long you want to open the hi-hat for. So when you're getting... See, just a little double. 1%ers. Paradiddle. I'll just do a paradiddle, right? There. So it's going to be right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, left. Right, left, right, left, right, left, left. Now, right hand. Rimshot. There it is, just go into double paradiddle, triple, but anything that's in between. Now when you're doing in-betweens, and you've got your right hand going with your left foot, you see, every time you put in a single stroke roll, the left hand will catch the open hi-hat. A Neal Peart. Specialty, that kind of thing. Oh. I might put them in just for a second. What do you think? No, Chris, don't. Oh, I'll bring all this up. Now there's stupid Stuart. Say it right, Chris. Stuart Copeland. Now what I'm going to do is put it on the ends. Splash hats, another threshold. Now, one of the other things that you can do with the one percenters is when you're doing your rudiments, add the bass drum on the right hand. So once again, I'll take them out. And what it is when you're playing right hand, right foot. So away you go. I often think in terms when I'm playing both, like that. This is a Dom Famularo thing. I am name dropping, that's what the point of the show is about. Is that he would say, just imagine if you've got a piece of string between your the tip of your stick down to your big toe, tight with a piece of string. So whatever your right hand does, your right foot does. You see, so it's they're connected. You see, you work like that. He was talking about that like with his vip stroke, which he's very famous for. So you get that kind of. That kind of business there. Now, when you're starting to get into that, there was a book still around by John Pickering called The Drummer's Cookbook. Oh, I had to slog through that book. Oh boy, I'll put it up there. And I'll put my old one up there with the coffee stains and the squished spider. What happened was I was practicing about 1974, and I had the book on the tom-tom, you know, pre-music stand. Who needs a music stand? You know, that kind of thing. So I had it up on the tom-tom. And this big-ass Huntsman comes over the top and goes on the thing, and I go, boo! And I didn't really, you know, soil myself or anything like that. I just went, bang! I should have just flicked him off, I suppose, but it was just bang. And then, so there's kind of a arachnophobic autograph on my original drummer's cookbook back in the day. I feel a bit guilty about murdering a poor defenceless Huntsman, but he shouldn't have been on my bloody drum kit in the first place. Anyway, I plead no contest, Your Honour. There you go. Anyway, that's what happens when you're paramediddling. That's when you're cooking, mate. It's cooked. So the thing about funky beats and all sorts of stuff like that has got a lot to do with your thresholds and your volumes and your hi-hat, all that stuff. Get to know your rudiments and stuff. If I take the humble calypso and sort of just do this, and then put the right hand on the hi-hat and boom, boom, add the bass drum. So, I've got 3 sounds on the snare drum now. I've got my normal note, accent, rimshot. So I could do all of them. So, oi! Hello, boys. Do that. Dum. Oi! There you go. So there's a little bit of that for you. And I hope you get something out of it. It's all 1%ers. Is that the time? Have I actually already got to my... Ooh, bloody hell, that went quick. I must have enjoyed myself. Anyway, so what goes on? So what goes on is a bit of hi-hat there. And then what goes on is I'm mentioning the names. Go check it out. Check out the work of Stuart Copeland on hi-hat. There's many more, but fantastic business. But a couple of little tricks of the trade. If you've got the hi-hat tambourine a la Bonham, you can just straddle. You can see it down on boot cam down here. And you can see that I've just really got just pumping. And I'm doing it light enough so that the tambourine isn't really getting used, but as I bring it up, it comes in. There's your threshold, you see. But when you're actually doing that, and you're playing with it, nothing much happens. But if you put in a double tap, there's a parody. That comes from that. So there's a bit of cookbook, there's a bit of paradiddling, there's a bit of hi-hat, and there's a bit of threshold, and when you're getting it up like that, there's a bit of splashing, and that's especially good when you want to put a bit of air in your drumming. See, and if you... Splash your way! Budgie, Rob, Hurst. I always talk about them in pairs because they love their tom-toms. And what happens when you're doing that? There's your fill-in when you want to still keep the beat, you see. So you get up. method. There you go. But what I'm doing is there's that. There's your basic beat. Single stroke roll. Hui! I better wrap the show up. Hey! So I hope you're getting something about out of this with the 1%ers. There you go. I've got my notes here. The 1%ers. The hi-hat. Bonham quavers, the open left hand, double taps, I've done that. Check, 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 check. Yes, I've done it all, including the sordid tale of the Huntsman spider and the drummer's cooked, mate, cooked book. And there you go, John Pickering. He must have just sat down every morning and wrote like a page of just 16th note things. They go on forever. There's like 600 exercises. And dear old H used to say, yeah, do that page. I'll be back in a minute. And do another page. You're going well, son. Now add the hi-hat. And I did that during the Ginger Baker tribute. One of the first ones I did. When, that kind of stuff. And what it was Harold used to get me to do the hi-hat with all these different things. So it'd be start off with 2 and 4. It'd be crotchets and then quavers. And I went, that's John Bonham. And there was one time when I said, give me a break, will you? And he went, all right, let's move on. I was going 16th note. So it'd be 1 yana, 2 yana. I sort of went out of the drum room with a limp. Oh my God, take me now. So what happens is that's what happened. But then lo and behold, Ginger Baker was doing it with Ginger Baker's Army or whatever it was. That kind of thing. I think, around about that time. And I'm not sure when he was, whether it was before or after he got done for horse rustling. He was a bit of a cardio ginge. Veil the ginge. So you got that. Let's just stick to 8th notes. So just keep that going. Just pump, just nice and small. I'll love and leave you. I'll bring this back up. Oi! My name, Chris Quinlan, Melbourne Musos, Facebook Live. Thank you for watching. All about 1%ers. This will be up tomorrow and then on Dear Channel 31 in a couple of weeks' time. I hope you're enjoying the shows and Impromptu TV on Wednesdays. Take care.